This afternoon, we are very fortunate to have Mr. William Siebers, an alumnus of Quincy, Notre Dame, to address us during this 2011 commencement exercise. Bill is a 1989 graduate of Quincy, Notre Dame, a 1993 cum laude graduate of Quincy University in accounting, and a 1996 summa cum laude graduate of Valparaiso University. He is an attorney and partner at the law firm of Schultz, Blues, Palmer, Siebers, and Easterhouse. He is a member of St. Peter Church. He teaches Sunday school, is a prayer group facilitator, and serves on the Pastoral Council, Stewardship Committee, and Master Planning Committee. He was the co-chair for the St. Peter Parish Living Stones campaign. Bill is currently the chairman of the board for Transitions to Western Illinois Association. Bill is also a volunteer instructor for junior achievement. In 2009 and 2010, he served as the co-chair for the QND Foundation's annual fund drive. As an attorney, Bill concentrates in the areas of elder law, estate planning, and civil litigation. He is a member of the Illinois Task Force for Senior Fairness and the National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys. Bill is a frequent speaker on elder law and estate planning topics for both professionals and the community. He has presented and shared his elder law insights with attorneys from throughout the United States. Bill most recently presented an elder law update continuing education seminar to attorneys for the Illinois State Bar Association. He has also served as an instructor for the University of Illinois, sponsored multidisciplinary certificate program in geriatrics. Bill writes, publishes, and distributes a newsletter called Elder Law Matters that addresses legal topics relevant to seniors, their loved ones, caregivers, and advisors. He is admitted to practice law in Illinois and Missouri. Mr. Siebers also earned an Eagle Scholar earlier in his career. Bill and his wife Amy have 3 children. Amy is a QND alumna of class of 1991. Luke and Meredith, they're twins, will be in the QND class of 2020. And AJ will be graduating from Quincy, Notre Dame in 2024. But now I need to give you the rest of the story. Not only was Bill an exceptional scholar athlete, he was a great soccer player, a great basketball player, a pretty good tennis player. There were many times that I saw him. I've met very few people in my career who have been as dedicated to taking care of business and being an improved person in all aspects. I can remember a number of times coming here after a Friday night game where perhaps he felt that maybe he didn't score enough points and didn't play as well. And I'd come in here and do a little paperwork and I'd hear this noise, and somehow he had gotten into the gym and he was shooting baskets for about 2 or 3 hours before the Saturday night game. But more important than that is that he was and is a man of character, faith, and dignity. And this school is better because of what Bill Siebers has brought to it. At this time, I introduce to you Mr. Bill Siebers.
We'll get back to that in a minute. Class of 2011, congratulations. So many individual and team accomplishments. If there's one thing that distinguishes you from all other QND classes, after all these years, and so many graduating classes that have passed through these halls, you will have the distinction of being remembered as the class. The class that convinced Ray Howland to retire. In 1900, down around Beaumont, Texas, there was a farmer selling much of his land. He had to do so because times were tough and he needed to feed his family. One day, an oil company representative came along and said, "Sir, we think there might be oil on your property. Let us drill for it, and if we find any, we'll pay you a royalty on every barrel that we pull out." The farmer decided to take action. He really had nothing to lose, so he said, "Let's do it." The oil company drilled for their oil, and in those days, the drilling derricks were made of wood. And when they had a gusher, the oil would destroy the derrick. The greater the destruction, the greater the excitement, because they knew that there was an abundance of oil underneath the surface. When this particular This was the world's introduction to Spindletop, the most productive oil well in history at the time. 3 separate oil companies were founded out of that one oil field. That farmer became an instant millionaire. Or did he? You see, the reality is, he had been a multi-millionaire ever since the day he acquired the property. But until he took action to drill for the oil, bring it to the surface, and take it to the marketplace, it really had no value. There's a lot of people that are that same way. They have an awful lot of talent and resources below the surface. But until they take action to bring those talents out and take them to the marketplace, they will never realize even a minute fraction of the benefits they could bring themselves, their family, their church, and their community. So the challenge for each of you is to determine what actions you take to discover your oil, bring it to the surface, and take it to the marketplace. I predict this will be no problem for you. How can I be so confident? You, as QND graduates, are far ahead of the curve. Your entire lives have been spent in an incubator of sorts, designed by God and your families to develop your talents, your faith, your character, and your intellect. You come from families that unconditionally support and love you. They love you enough to take action and make a QND education a top priority, even if it meant sacrifices to their lives or their lifestyles. During these years at QND, you have been blessed to be in a faith-based, top-tier educational environment, a place where the bar of achievement is raised for all. You've enjoyed educational experience and Christian beliefs and teachings that permeate the environment. Every school day includes not a generic moment of silence or a politically correct reflection period. It included prayer, where the words Jesus and God are freely incorporated into not just religion class, but everything from Mrs. Last and Mrs. Schmidt's English class to Mrs. White's math classes. In fact, when I was here, just by way of example, Mrs. White had a way of making every single math class a religious experience for me. Before I strolled down that short hallway to her classroom every day, I would pause and say a brief prayer, and it went something like this. Oh, gracious and merciful God, please do not let Mrs. White call me to the board today to do math problems. And God let me down so many times. It really shook my faith. Today you're graduating from QND and completing important days of your life. Most of all, for most of you, you're leaving the warmth and protection of that incubator, this community incubator. You're entering a phase where you will have unprecedented independence and the ability to take your own actions. You must do so and take actions that will further your values and talents that you've developed here at QND. One of my mentors shared this secret with me, and I'm going to share it with you. No matter what your age, the only difference between who you are today and who you are 5 years from now, 2 important things. The people you spend time with and the books you read. That's true in every phase of life, but particularly for you in the next 5 years after high school. So as you set off into this next phase of life, choose your new friends wisely. Spend time with people that share your Christian values, people that build you up. Besides those textbooks you'll be reading, read books and materials that stretch your knowledge and expand your faith. I understand that you as a group are a very faithful class. Keep it up. Continue to read the Bible. Remain true to yourself. Keep yourself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. Now back to that unicycle. This is my first commencement address, and I can almost hear Mr. Hyman back there thinking, with an entrance like that, it will be your last. But a few nights ago, I was reading a book by John Maxwell. It's entitled Winning with People. And there's a chapter on the importance of taking action, because actions are remembered long after the spoken word is forgotten. Coincidentally, he used an example about high school commencement addresses. And so this is the audience participation portion of the address. Class of 2011, pay attention. Everybody else, if you have a high school diploma, and I need you to play along with me here. If you have a high school diploma, please raise your hand. If you remember receiving your high school diploma, please keep your hand raised. If you remember the name of the commencement speaker that delivered the message at your graduation, keep your hand raised. Great. I've got a couple stragglers up there. Here's my next question. If you can remember the message that the commencement speaker delivered at your graduation, please keep your hand raised. Nobody. So now, the class of 2011, fast forward years from now, as you reflect on your graduation from QND and on this ceremony, what do you think you'll remember, if anything, from this commencement address? Will it be the message I delivered, or the fact that some dude rode in on a unicycle? You see, actions are remembered long after the words are forgotten. So as you take action, pursuing your dreams, and bringing your talents to the marketplace, act accordingly. Good luck, Raiders.
Those who have been in my speech class, that's how I give a speech. I don't know about the unicycle, but that's the way to give a speech. Thank you, Mr. Siebers. At this time,